Hi guys, how's it going? Do you want to know how often to change your oil on your third gen Tacoma? Well, stay tuned and watch this video.
There you go. Easy.
Bum, 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 bum. Hey guys, so you want to know how often to change your oil? Because honestly, this topic slash discussion gets brought up a lot. Like, I mean a lot. So many people out there are paranoid or think that you have to change it so early or so late, this and that. And so I'm going to bring to you all the knowledge I have based on what I've learned, what I've experienced, and what every opinion I've almost read on oil changes for this truck. So, factory recommends 16,000 kilometers, so me Canadian, or 10,000 miles. Does that sound like a lot? Maybe, but at this day and age, not really. I mean, average people put on for vehicles, I mean, it skyrockets nowadays. Like, people put on miles for crazy amounts. So that's one reason why I've heard that oil changes have been kind of extended. When I first got this truck, is that so many people are getting annoyed with having to come in for oil changes, because like every 5 or 8,000 kilometers, so 3 to 5K miles. So that was one reason, but I mean, that makes sense in a way, but at the same time, that's not going to just go above the engineering and be like, yeah, so we're just going to say, let's do every 10,000 and call her good. Obviously, as the life has progressed, engineering's gotten better, oil lasts longer, everything lasts longer, right? I mean, this thing's Toyota after all, so we're fine, right? So, but should you do 5,000 or 10,000? Well, I would personally never do 5,000. That is way too soon. Unless you are constantly beating on it every day or towing with it every day. So if you use it for work and you're constantly towing, hold on here. If you're constantly towing, you definitely maybe have to look at maybe 5,000, because you're putting a lot of strain on your engine and, you know, the constant revs, because you're going to be in fourth gear the entire time of your towing experience. Maybe every now and again you'll see fifth gear, but otherwise you're going to be constantly in 2 to 3,000, maybe 3,000 RPM all the time. So that's where I'd say maybe 5K comes into play a little bit, or at least around that 5K, but nowhere between 10. 10,000 is 100% fine, and I mean 100%. Look at this screenshot that I'm posting up here. It's from a guy out in Arizona. So, I mean, if I remember correctly, he's told me that his days were like over 100 some degrees in Fahrenheit, or even 110. Like, I mean, hot weather, and that's nowhere near here in Saskatchewan. And he did his actually a little bit over 10,000, and even when he still sent it in for an oil check slash analysis, perfectly fine. It came out of that, and he also explains what he does there. So for a heads up too, he's the guy that has the most popular YouTube video for us on the ECGS bushing install. He's that guy. That's Justin. So he's good shit, so you can't go wrong with that. So yes, you can do 10K, yes, you can do 5K if you actually like spending your money just for whatever, or if you actually really abuse your truck. So keep those in mind. I would, like I said, never do 5K unless you're crazy. But here's the question I ask you. How do you treat your truck? How do you drive your truck? How do you abuse it and use it, right? Are you towing a lot? Are you off-roading a lot? Are you just daily driving it? You know, city here, highway there? Are you just city driving, or do you not drive it much at all? Those are things you have to ask yourself. If you're driving your Tacoma once a month, you might want to look at oil changes sooner. It's not always based off of mileage, and we all know that for sure. So you got to think about that. If you're just in the city driving every day, you're not going to pass like 50 miles an hour, you definitely want to look at possibly getting your oil change done sooner. So there's that reason, because you're not always letting it build up, but you're also not getting that high revs. You know, you're just not using it accordingly, so it can build up condensation, I believe, and stuff like that. Yeah, and that's another thing too. You definitely want to make sure your engine's always warm. If you're driving for 5 minutes a day and your engine temp is barely getting warm all the time, especially like come winter time, definitely look at oil changes sooner. If you off-road a lot, or off-road here and there, and then maybe tow here and there, and then just daily drive, something like me, except I don't tow, yeah, you can be fine at 10,000, no problem. There's absolutely no issues at all with that. But like I said, it comes down to weather. And at the same time, you can always send in your oil for analysis at any given time. I've never personally done it. I don't care to right now. I mean, I just do mine at my specific, and I'll get to that in a minute. But otherwise, you got to ask yourselves those questions to find out exactly what you need to get, or how often you need to change your oil. So that's more or less based off of your own personal driving, I should say. So keep that in mind for sure. So ask yourself those questions. How often do you drive your truck? How are you abusing your truck? What are you using your truck for? You know, whatever. You can put into so many different texts. So keep that in mind, guys, for sure. So with my truck personally, I do mine, I think it's about 8,300 miles. So why is it 8,300 miles? Well, I'm in Canada here, so I go by kilometers, and I get my tires rotated every 5,000 kilometers, which is about 3,000 miles. So, because obviously that's how you get the most wear and tear out of your tires. You rotate back and forth every 3 to 5K at most, like Toyota recommends. And then I do my oil changes at 83 because that's 10,000 kilometers. So it's much easier to read on my odometer, and it's just my peace of mind. But also, I mean, you guys have seen my videos. You obviously know what I kind of do with my truck. So I do mine a little bit sooner. So 6,000 kilometers is a little bit sooner. I could probably go a little bit more. I mean, you have that open door, whereas like if you can't do that oil change at 10,000, you know, if I'm at say like 8,000, but then I go on a journey for like a 5,000-6,000 kilometer trip or something, I'm not gonna be too worried. I'll just have to make sure I get the oil change before I come back, or when I come back. So I do mine at 10 just simply because it's for the abuse I put through the truck, and also simply because of routine maintenance that I do. So it's just a lot easier to read my odometer at, okay, I'm at 110, time for an oil change, 115, tire rotation, 130, oil change, 155, tire rotation. So that makes sense to me. So for you personally, as guys in the States and this and that, I mean, you kind of do your own math for that. I mean, if you can do it every 3 and 8, I mean, that seems a little weird on your odometer, but you know, whatever, I guess. You guys are weird in miles an hour there sometimes. But yet, I constantly drive my truck at miles per hour, so there's that, right? But like I said, conclusion here, guys, how often you should change it is based on your own discretion and how often you abuse it and don't use it, I should say. So look at more oil changes if you don't drive it much, or if you're only doing city driving, and I'm saying city driving is under 80 miles an hour, but if you're on the highway, not so bad. But if you're still not putting on a lot of miles, look at oil changes sooner too. My recommendation is at least 2 a year if you're barely driving it. If you put on like 5,000 a year, I'd look at maybe 2 or 3 oil changes every 3 to 4 months, whatever, right? So that way it's fresh oil in there and this and that. So, because I just wouldn't let it sit. I mean, you can be my guest, but this is my suggestion for you because you just don't want the oil just sitting in there doing nothing and then not operating correctly and this and that. I mean, there's so much more other info. I mean, you can always Google it too. Why should I get my oil change done sooner if I'm not driving much? It'll give you a lot of explanations. I'm not going to sit here and just read you guys Google and facts when you can find it yourself. I'm telling you personally my thoughts and my knowledge of the 3rd gen Tacoma and why you should change it at this and that. So, but that's pretty much going to conclude this oil change video for you guys. Holy crap, why is there like 30 people coming off the off-ramp here? Oh, that's because I'm in the East End now. Hello, friends. I love driving, guys. So, but let me know what you guys think of this video. I'm actually going to be doing a little Toyota maintenance video for every fluid on this truck. So the next one you're going to see is brake fluid, and then the next one will be radiator, power steering. Not all of them are going to be this long. Oil changes are obviously a crucial one, so this one's a little bit longer of a video, but like brake fluid and all that, they're not going to be too long of a video by any means, for sure. So I'll keep you guys updated. I gotta speed up here, hold on. I realized that it's a 70 mile an hour highway and I'm not going fast enough, so yes, let me know what you guys think. How often do you guys change your oils? I kind of want to know. How are you using your truck? Are you off-roading a lot? Are you towing a lot? Let me know if anything I say is wrong, or if you think that you have a better idea or knowledge. I'm not against anyone's opinion here. Like, I'm a very open book, guys. Like, I'm not gonna hide any hateful comments or whatever. I mean, you state your opinion, I'm okay with that. I'm more than happy to hear it. If you guys think I'm a complete moron for this knowledge, comment that and tell me why. But don't have the nerve to comment and not explain yourself by any means. So, alright guys, you have a good one, and I'll see you around.